Are you excited about catching your first fish, but when it comes to the rods, the reels, the knots, the lures, it all feels a little overwhelming and you don't know where to start? Well, Daren Wendell with Wendell Fishing, and this guide is specifically designed for beginners, right? No experience necessary. I'll walk you through every step from choosing your gear, finding a fishing spot, to casting, to catching, to reeling, to handling the fish. And by the end, you just won't feel ready, you will be ready. Before you ever hit the water, you'll need the right tools. Now here's a basic breakdown. Rod and reel combo. There are three main types of rod and reel combos you will hear about. First, you got the spin cast. Spin cast reels are the most user-friendly style on the market. They have a push button system that makes casting almost foolproof, and the line is enclosed in a metal or plastic cone, which helps prevent tangles. Because of their simplicity, they're great for young kids or people who just want to dip a toe into fishing without worrying about technique. Now the trade-off, they're not very powerful, they can limit your accuracy and casting distance. They're really best for casual fishing in ponds or small lakes, especially for bluegill, sunfish, or even small bass. Next we have the spinning reels, these right here. Now spinning reels strike a perfect balance between ease of use and performance. The reel hands underneath and the rod uses a bail system to manage line control. Now while they may look a little intimidating at first, they're actually very forgiving once you learn the basics. You can cast further, handle a wider variety of lures and fish sizes than with a spin cast. Plus, spinning gear is affordable and widely available. They're really best for beginners who want to fish for bass and trout and panfish and who are ready to learn some basic mechanics. All right, next we have the bait casting reel, this right here. Now, these offer more control, more power, more accuracy if you know what you're doing. But for beginners, they can be a little bit frustrating. They're notorious for backlashes, also known as bird's nests, hell on earth, professional overruns, whatever you want to call them, where your line gets tangled inside the spool. Bait casters are the best used with heavier lines and lures, and they're a favorite among experienced anglers targeting larger fish. But until you mastered casting basics and line control, they're better left for later. Now, you might hear a lot of people or see a lot of rod power and action being thrown around. Medium power, heavy power, fast action, moderate action, but what does it mean? Rod action is where the rod bends. It refers to how far up to blank the rod bends when pressure is applied. Now this affects the rod sensitivity, how quickly you can set the hook, and what kinds of lures or techniques it's best suited for. You got fast action, it bends mostly at the tip, great for sensitivity and quick hook sets, ideal for techniques like jigging. You got moderate, it bends in the top half of the rod, more forgiving, great for treble hooks, lures like crankbaits. And then in slow action, you really don't see a whole lot of that in bass fishing. It bends throughout the entire rod and down into the handle. And then you have rod power. This is how much force it takes to bend the rod. Rod power is the rod's resistance to bending. In other words, it describes the rod's backbone and how heavy of a lure or fish it can handle. This is measured in ultralight, bends very easily, great for small fish like panfish or trout. You got light to medium, versatile for a mix of species and techniques. You got medium, heavy to heavy. These are stronger rods like the one I'm holding right here for bigger fish like large bass, catfish, pike, also used for techniques like flipping, jigging. Now, when it comes to beginners, I'm going to recommend for you a medium power spinning rod and a reel combo around the 6'6" to 7'2" foot length. Now, I used a loose Xfinity stick combo for years and it was really good to me and it didn't break the bank. But I don't think they actually make them anymore. They were replaced by the Mach Smash, which at the time of shooting this video were like $79.95. You can get them at Walmart. Now, if you're looking for something a little cheaper, there's the Lose Hypersonic 7-foot combo. I believe that's $54 on Amazon. I believe you can also find these at Wally World as well. Now let's move on to fishing line. There's four main types. You got your monofilament. This is the budget-friendly, easy to use, a solid choice for beginners. It stretches under pressure, which helps prevent break-offs and makes it forgiving for new anglers. What sets it apart, really, it's affordable, widely available, and great for learning the basics of casting and knot tying. Next, you have your fluorocarbon, virtually invisible underwater, but can be tricky to handle. It sinks faster than monofilament and is more sensitive. And what sets it apart, it's nearly invisible to fish, perfect for clear water, but stiffer and harder to manage on a spinning reel, and it's more expensive than your monofilament. And then you have your braid, which I have hooked up to my buzzbait right now. This is going to be super strong and super sensitive, but visible in clear water with zero stretch. It lets you feel every nibble and makes long casts easier. Now what sets it apart, it's ultra durable and ideal for thick vegetation, but often needs to have a leader to avoid spooking fish in clear water. It also can be a little expensive. Then you have copolymer. It doesn't get talked about a whole lot. It's a hybrid option, really good strength and low stretch. It blends the best features of mono and fluoro for better sensitivity without sacrificing ease of use. Now what sets it apart? It's a great middle ground, right? Stronger, less stretchy than mono, but more manageable than fluoro, and the price is right between mono and fluorocarbon. My recommendation for you, start with a 8 to 10 pound monofilament line for general freshwater fishing, and you can't go wrong with the Berkeley Trilene. It's like $5 to $8 for 110 yards. Now let's talk about hooks and hook sizing. Now in fishing, this can be a little confusing at first because you have standard sizes and then it moves to aught sizes. Now the smallest standard size is a size 32, super tiny, really used for fly fishing like the micro dry flies. I mean, tiny. And as the numbers decrease, size 32 to size 1, the hooks actually get larger. A size 1 hook is much bigger than a size 32 hook. Then it moves to aught sizes. There's actually no 0 size hook. The sequence starts at 1 aught and increases in size as the number goes up. It goes from 1 aught, 2 aught, 3 aught as the hooks get bigger, all the way up to like a 20 aught hook. 20 aught hook is literally bigger than my hand. And what would you use something like that for? Like shark fishing, like big game fishing. So if you're using one of those, please contact me. I want to go fishing with you. But I share all of that because sometimes people will buy their hooks online and the picture doesn't do a good job of showing you the different sizes. So this will guide you. But for beginners, a size 1 to a size 3 aught hook is a really good starting range for bass and general freshwater fishing, and depending on the bait you're using. Now let's talk about bait and lures. There are endless options of lures, thousands and thousands of different types of lures out there. But there are 3 beginner-friendly artificial baits that will help you land some bass on the combo and line that I recommended. One is going to be a spinnerbait, really great for covering water and catching aggressive fish. It's wireframe lure with the spinning blades that have a flash and thump as they move, mimicking a fleeing bait fish. Just cast it out and retrieve it back. Cast it near weed edges, rocks, submerged wood. Great for finding active bass fast. However, on the combo that I shared with you, you don't want a really large one. You're going to want a smaller type of spinnerbait, and I'll throw one of those in the link below. Next is going to be this guy right here. This is the wacky worm. Wacky worms are really simple, deadly effective. Just rig a soft plastic worm. This is like a 5-inch worm. And then you're gonna take a 1 aught or 2 aught hook and just hook it right through the middle like this. It's stupid looking, isn't it? It's wild. And so basically throw this out, let it slowly fall on slack line, give it a subtle twitch, and the bass will often hit it on the paws, making it perfect for beginners. Now for the hooks, I usually don't skimp on hooks. Hooks that get my money are the Gamakatsu 1 aught, and on Amazon right now you can get a pack of 6 for like $3 or $4. All right, the next lure that's really beginner friendly, it's gonna be great for those choked out lakes with a lot of grass, a lot of lily pads, just a lot of vegetation. The Texas rig worm is classic and weedless, perfect for fishing around cover. Insert the hook into the nose of a worm, thread it through, and then tuck the hook point back into the plastic to make it snag free. Really ideal for dragging through the brush, weeds, and along the bottom. You need a few things for the Texas rig worm. You're gonna need a 3 aught to 4 aught EWG hook, extra wide gap hook, and then you're gonna need a bullet weight and then some type of plastic worm. A few other things you might want to consider getting is definitely getting a tackle bag, right? Keep your gear organized. You're definitely going to have a pair of needle nose pliers for the easy hook removal, especially when those fish have a tendency to swallow those really deep. It's also nice to have a pair of scissors or line cutters, especially if you're using braid. You'll need something sharp to trim the excess line after tying knots and after switching lures. So a pair of dedicated line cutters works best. The ones I like and use, these guys right here, the Live Fishing scissors. And in fact, you can get like 10% off using code Wendell Fishing. I'll throw the link in the description notes. One of the things I also have with me at all times is a small first aid kit. Accidents happen, and whether it's a hook poke, a line cut, or unexpected tumble, a compact first aid kit ensures you're prepared without taking up too much space. Having sunscreen is going to be fantastic. I actually have that on the back of my kayak right now. Fishing often means long hours, and sunburn isn't the kind of souvenir you want, trust me. And polarized sunglasses not only protect your eyes, but also reduce glare so you can see actually beneath the water surface, which is a real game changer. And if you ever happen to get one of those lures caught and pulled out of the tree, that's coming back towards your face, it's going to hit you in the face. You're going to want a pair of sunglasses that is going to protect your eyes. Now let's shift gears a little bit. How to choose the right fishing spot. Now, not all water is created equal, and here's how to find your first fishing hole. You want to start with your local ponds, your lakes, your rivers, and public fishing piers. These are accessible, beginner-friendly spots that often hold plenty of catchable fish. Also, with many fishing piers, there's artificial fish attractors that are strategically placed by these docks so you can catch more fish. Now check the area. If it's regularly stocked waters, you can typically have more fish, making it easier to get bites and build confidence. I just witnessed a trout stocking where they pulled up a truck and dumped 1,600 rainbow trout in a small area. It was really a lot of fun to watch. All right, now let's talk about reading the water and looking for high percentage areas. You're going to be able to look for places that bass like to hold up next against. This is going to be your docks, your fallen trees, your rocks. Now fish love to hang around structure because it offers shelter and ambush points for prey. Fish shade during sunny days, so shade keeps the water cooler and attracts fish looking to escape direct sunlight. So fish those shade spots for sure. And target cover like weeds and lily pads. These areas provide protection and food, making them hot spots for bass and other species, especially with that Texas rig I just showed you. Now, if you're fishing in the rivers, watch for current in rivers. It positions fish predictably. Fish often face into the current, waiting for food to drift by, so cast upstream and bring your bait back through naturally. Now, this works really well with that wacky worm I just showed you, especially in the river. All right, next, let's talk about apps and tools. There's a lot of different apps out there that can help you when it comes to fishing, but one of my favorite tools and one of my favorite apps for beginners is the Deep Dive app. I've been using it for years, and one of my favorite offerings as an app is the bait selector tool. All right, so what you can do is actually go into the app and type in the lake that you want to fish, and it's going to show you the lures for that lake. And once you click on the lure, it's going to show you how to fish it, where to fish it, the type of gear to fish it on. So if you're new to this whole fishing game, you're like, hey, I want to be hyper specific to the lake I'm fishing, this is going to be a really great help for you. It also is going to show you the wind and the weather patterns and the minor feeding windows and the major feeding windows, and it's going to pinpoint where fish will likely be. And so I will throw the link to the Deep Dive app in the first comment of this video. Also, don't forget, get your fishing license before casting. Make sure you're legal. And why this matters is it supports conservation efforts and helps fund wildlife management programs, while also protecting you from fines for fishing without a license. Now, where do you get one? You can go online through your state's Fish and Wildlife Department or sporting goods stores. You can get them at Walmart. Easy access. Make sure you are good to go. And don't forget this, whenever you buy your fishing license, know your regulations, right? Know your size limits, know your daily catch limits and seasonal restrictions, and stay within the law and protect fish populations for future generations. Read the rules as they vary from state to state. For instance, in Ohio, you're only allowed having 3 hooks on a lure. So the Alabama rig with 5 hooks is actually not legal. And so you have to throw like 2 dummy lures on there. So it's different from state to state. And so make sure you check that out. Now let's talk about setting up your fishing rig. And here's how to build your first setup. You're going to spool your reel and your line. Now, this can feel tricky, but I have a video for you about how to do it step by step. And the time of shooting this video has 300,000 views, so I guess people like it. Number 2, you're going to learn a key knot, the Palomar knot. The Palomar knot is one of the strongest and easiest knots to tie, making it perfect for beginners. And mastering this knot gives you the confidence to attach hooks and lures securely so you can focus on fishing, not retying your tackle or losing bass. All right, so let me show you how to tie the Palomar. So if you've never done the Palomar knot before, I'm gonna share that real quick. So you run it through one end, run it back through. Now what we're going to do is take that loop and just do an overhand knot. Just like that. You get the overhand knot. Then take this loop right here that you created the overhand knot, run your hook through it, just like so. Pull it up and just slide that tight. And that is a super strong knot. All right, now let's talk about casting and retrieving. Learning to cast is like riding a bike, right? Awkward at first, but soon second nature. So start by practicing with a casting plug in your backyard. where you can work on your technique without the pressure of fishing or getting it caught in a tree. Use smooth, fluid motion, and casting is all about control, not speed. So focus on making gentle, sweeping motions with your rod. Avoid whipping your rod. It's finesse, not force. And instead of trying to force the cast, let the rod do the work by smooth, controlled flick of your wrist. All right, now let's talk about detecting a bite and setting the hook. So here's what you'll notice when a fish bites. Either a tap tap on the line, moving unexpectedly to left or right. Fish often nibble or pick up the bait, often causing a small vibration or a sudden movement in the line. Maybe your rod tip bouncing slightly, or the rod tip of your rod will twitch or bend as the fish pulls on the bait, signaling a bite, or it will hit it and come towards you and you'll have slack line. Now what you're gonna do is once you feel that bite, you're gonna reel down and remove any slack line from you to the fish, right? Or you'll just set a bunch of slack line and you'll miss the fish will detect it and they'll spit it out. So once you feel that, reel down, it's gonna be a firm snap of the wrist upwards, and then set the hook past the barb. Remember, starting out, hook sets are free. If you're not quite sure if it's a bite or not, hook set, and eventually you'll figure out and it'll become second nature whether or not it's a fish or not. So next we're going to talk about reeling in and landing a fish, and the key to this is keeping steady tension on the line. Don't let it go slack. You want to maintain constant pressure on the fish to avoid giving it a chance to escape. There's no need to horse them back to the shore or back to the boat. If you set the hook past the barb, you have the fish. Just keep steady tension on the line, because if they have slack line, they have a lot of times have more opportunity to throw your lure. What you're also going to do is let the drag work for you. Don't horse the fish in. Set your reel's drag to allow some line to be pulled out when the fish fights, right? Really preventing your line from snapping under too much pressure. A lot of times these bass, especially if you got a big one, once it sees you, it's going to turn around and shoot down. If you don't have your drag set, it's going to snap your line. It's going to be really frustrating. Now, once that fish is close, you can scoop it up with a net. You can lift it up carefully. If it's a small one, you can kind of boat flip it while it's still on the line. But if it's a big one, I've seen a lot of people lose bass this way. They get a giant bass, they get it close to shore, they want to get it up on shore, and they try to, land it, and it breaks under the weight of that fish and the line because it's no longer in the water, and that's when they get free, and it's, once again, super frustrating. Just be sure to be gentle and avoid injuring the fish or losing your catch. So now let's talk about some beginner tips for success. I highly recommend fishing with a friend or a mentor. It speeds up the learning curve, and having someone experienced by your side can teach you tricks, improve your technique, and make the experience a whole lot more enjoyable. I like fishing early mornings and late evenings. They often produce the best bites, and fish are more active during these times, especially in warmer months when the water is hot and the food is abundant. Also, be patient. It's called fishing, not catching, for a reason. Remember, fishing is about experience and the process. Don't get discouraged if you don't catch something right away. Now, if you want to learn more about fishing, I've created over 1,800 videos on the subject, from lure walkthroughs to on the water tips. And if you're looking to dive deeper, hit that subscribe button and I will keep them coming. Now, I want to leave you with 2 videos that's really going to help you catch a lot of fish, and they go into deeper detail. And so if you want to learn more about how to fish the wacky worm, you can check that out right there. And another lure that I talked about earlier in this video, how to fish the Texas rig and how to rig that up, you can check that out right there. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.